Good afternoon, everyone, or maybe I should say good evening. I hope everyone is doing well under the circumstances. I'm Dr. Karen Morgan. I am the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs at Johnson C. Smith University. I started on July 1st of this year, and I just want to welcome everyone to this evening's town hall where we're going to talk about academics. You'll hear from various members of the Academic Affairs Executive Council. And as we talk about tonight, feel free to ask questions, post your questions in the chat. We'll have those who will be monitoring those questions throughout. And so let's just start with the first part of tonight as we think about returning to campus and what it means to look at, let me just share my screen with you. This is our the town hall relative to academic affairs. We're returning to Beatties Ford Road. One of the things that I think is important for us to consider is in academic affairs, as we charge forward, let's talk about the first things relative to the academic calendar. And what we are tentatively planning at this point is that the first day of what we're calling our online teaching and learning, this is the virtual instruction, it's going to take place on Tuesday after King Day, that's January 19th. A second important date to keep in mind is about a week later, which will be Monday, January 25th. That will be our first day of face-to-face instruction. And we'll have information booths set up across campus so that you may stop there and ask any particular questions that you have. Those information booths will be available on January 25th and January 26th. And we know that during this time, it's important to have some break days where we can take some time to recharge, rejuvenate, rest, and relax. And so what we've indicated here is that we will have the first bull break day will be on February 18th, the second one on March 9th, and the third one on March 10th. In addition to that, we'll have our Good Friday and our Easter Monday holidays, April 2nd and April 5th. Now, as we are preparing for the end of the semester, take note that the last day of classes is now scheduled for Saturday, May 1st. And then we have 2 reading days set aside so that you can begin to prepare for your final exams. Those 2 reading days are Monday, May 3rd and Thursday, May 6th. Final exams are scheduled for Tuesday, May 4th through Wednesday, May 5th, and Friday, May 7th through Saturday, May 8th. And then I know something that you're probably, at least those of you who will be graduating seniors, are looking forward to our commencement, which will be held on Sunday, May 16th. And now we'll go to talk about the campus buildings. We have Dr. Henley.
Good evening, Smithites. I am Dr. Antonio Henley, responsible for institutional effectiveness, and want to walk you through sort of the preparations being made for campus buildings. As you can imagine, members of the university's Emergency Management Task Force has been at work since summer and have been working through the fall. And ensuring that there are directional signs to control traffic flow and to facilitate social distancing. They've erected hand sanitizing stations and equipped rooms with disinfectant wipes, as well as plexiglass barriers for staff and faculty in workstations have also been put up. The routine for sanitizing and disinfecting classrooms will happen routinely 2 times a day for 6 days a week, Monday through Saturdays. And administrative buildings will have cleaning done 5 days a week in high touch areas throughout the day. To control the density of spaces, furniture in buildings have been removed and stored, and specific classrooms, there are furniture marked off as no sitting zones, again, all with the intention of controlling density in those spaces. We're going to move on now to the next area on the agenda, classroom spaces.
Dr. Caldwell. You unmute, Dr. Caldwell.
Yes. Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to discuss with you the classroom space. The classroom capacity assessment for proper social distancing will be, of course, plexiglass barriers placed on faculty desks and podiums. Of course, this gives the separation that's necessary for safety throughout the instruction time. There are assigned seating to facilitate contact tracing. Therefore, students will know exactly where they are to seat with proper spacing between the seats. Classroom times adjusted to end 10 minutes early for cleaning and disinfecting. And of course, this is to make sure there are not any residue left between classes and instruction. Students and faculty will partner to clean classroom spaces. Wipes, disposable gloves, and hand sanitizer stations will be available. And significant investment in instructional technology, such as the installed electronic card access for 6 academic buildings, will occur.
And this is Dr. Caldwell. Introduce yourself to our audience tonight, please.
Excuse me?
Please introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am Dr. Helen Caldwell, the Dean of the School of Social Work.
Thank you.
I will continue with classes. There will be a gold, blue, and white cohort model. The gold and blue cohorts will alternate on a weekly basis, meeting in the classroom, while the other cohort joins virtually. White cohort will meet virtually for the entire semester. Synchronous classes will meet at specific times, supplemented by asynchronous strategies. For example, pre-recorded and real-time recorded lectures and response prompts. All Wednesday classes will be virtual. Possible exceptions will be evening, an online program, masters in social work classes, etc.
To add to that, Dr. Mitchell, if you could introduce yourself to our audience tonight.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So glad that you joined us this evening. My name is Dr. Melita Pope Mitchell, and I'm the interim dean in the Metropolitan College of Professional Studies.
Thank you. Dr. McLean.
Good evening, everyone. Now that I have taken myself off of mute, welcome this evening. I am Dr. Laura Colson McLean, Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs. I work to support our Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. I will now discuss with you the white cohort. The white cohort has been designated for students to be able to meet virtually for the entire semester. There are eligibility determinants for students to participate during the spring semester through this particular cohort. And those eligibility determinants are as follows. For students who may be at high risk for severe health complications from COVID-19 exposure as a result of medical issues, those students will need to contact the University Student Health Center, and the information has been provided to you here on the slide. Additionally, students who have a documented disability and are seeking to participate in the white cohort virtually for the entire semester should contact the Office of Equity and Access, and the information is also provided for you here on this slide. And finally, for students who are seeking an approval as a result of extenuating circumstances outside of those listed above, should contact the the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. And though the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs is Dr. Karen D. Morgan, there is a particular email that should be used that I want to emphasize at this time, which is also highlighted on your slide, which is svpaa@jcsu.edu. And the contact phone number is also provided. Now, if you are seeking to continue matriculating this academic year through the white cohort, you will receive a communication by Thanksgiving break from the email from the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Karen D. Morgan, and the Vice President for Student Affairs, respectively, Dr. Davita Haywood. These email communications will be communicated to you through your mymail.jcsu.edu account and not your personal email account. So please be on the lookout for those communications if you are seeking to continue through the white cohort during the spring.
And now as we talk about how do we take care of the business before returning in the spring semester, Dr. Gompa, please introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Dr. Vijaya Gampa. I am the Dean of the College of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. In short, we call it STEM College. And I believe I got the best slide. The best part of coming back to school is registering. So I want you to go ahead and do it as early as possible. So registration starts today for seniors. That is Monday, November 16th. And Wednesday, the November 18th, advising and registration starts for all students. And on Friday, this Friday, November 20th, is the last day to file for graduation for this semester. So finally, the financial clearance process for spring 2021 will start end of this month on November 30th. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Kathy Jones, the interim dean for University College, and welcome this evening to all of our Smithites, our families, and friends. Student support services is very critical, especially during this time of the pandemic. And we just want to let you know that we do have services here to support you. The Counseling Center continues to offer services to our students as they matriculate through Johnson C. Smith University. And these services are extremely important during this time. The service is available 24/7, and it's called our Smith Care Telehealth. And I will put this information in the chat for you. The center has implemented this program for full-time students, and yes, including graduate students as well. As I said before, the service is available 24/7, 365 days a year, providing you with medical, mental, and health coaching by a licensed provider. And it is at no cost to you. And that site is www.smithite.care, www.smithite.care. And I will put that in the chat for you. The staff is also still available to talk with you by calling 378-1044. And the director of our counseling center here is Ms. Tiara Parsons. She can be reached at that number as well. We also have virtual tutoring via Zoom. It's available through our STEM Resource Center. That's for science, technology, engineering, and math. If you need assistance in any of those subjects, please make sure you contact Dr. Nguyen. I have to put this in the chat. It's not a part of our presentation on the slides tonight, but I will put her name on there. All of these services are on Zoom. Online coaching sessions for rhetoric and culture are available for English, for Spanish, grammar, career documents to senior paper, and group workshops. They are available by booking an appointment by calling this number, and I will also share that with you, 980-999-1176. And it does work because I tried it today myself. And of course, we have Smart Thinking. This is our online tutorial support service, and it is also available 24/7 for any subject matter with which you may need assistance. Smart Thinking is listed in all of your classes in the Canvas portal. So all of our classes that use the Canvas portal, you will find Smart Thinking there. Please use that and connect. If you are a student who might have an IEP, a 504 plan, and you know what I'm referring to, you may be eligible to receive support services here through Student Support Services, which is a grant-funded program, or through Equity and Access. You must remember that you will have to make sure you contact the Office of Student Support Services or the Office of Access Equity and Access. It's Monday. So if you will do that, you have to comply. You have to present your documentation in order to be eligible. There are a lot of students who wait, who become brand new when they come to school, and you forget that you've had ADA, you've had accommodations throughout high school. So please, please get in contact with those offices. I will put that in the chat as well. The international students, I would ask that you contact Ms. Keisha Wilson. She is a designated staff person who handles all of the information for international students. I will put her information in the email as well. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Matthew DeForest. I'm the interim dean of the College of Arts and Letters. I wanted to let you know about some key ways that we're going to be staying in touch with you, because while we are in an experience now that all of us have sadly gotten used to with the pandemic, that doesn't mean that things aren't going to change. And Johnson C. Smith is making sure that it has several avenues in which we can get information to you. Some of these are going to be our regular broadcasts through JCSU News, which will come to your email addresses. On our website, there's a student guide that outlines a number of things that will help you prepare for the coming semester and get a sense of what it is you're going to be doing throughout the semester. Our website will be continuously updated. Right now, there's an FAQ on there, and we're going to make sure that that continues to update as you ask questions. So it's important that you continue to reach out to us with your questions so we can populate that. And the usual social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're going to be pushing out information there. Finally, as in most institutions in most towns, we're going to have a dashboard that's going to keep you updated with the state of affairs on our campus when it comes to COVID-19. It's an unfortunate truth that COVID-19 is one of those things that is an ever-present issue, and in many ways it's a question of when rather than if. But we're confident that we have in place a number of things that will help us make sure we keep you as safe as possible, and whatever cases that are going to be out there, that they stay contained. But our dashboard will keep you up to date with the numbers.
Thank you, everyone. So at this time, we are happy to address any questions, any concerns that you might have as we are preparing for your return in spring 2021. We've been doing quite a bit as we've been meeting to make sure that we have an enhanced teaching and learning experience for you, making sure that we are doing all we can to keep you safe. And as we do so, what you're doing within the classroom, although we can't mimic what it's like to be in a physical space, we're doing all we can to make sure that you do have an experience that will be one to remember from a positive perspective. So at this time, we're happy to answer any questions that you might have or any concerns that you might have relative to getting ready to return to the classroom in spring 2021.
Hi, my name is Cassia, and I did have some questions that thank you did answer right away. I do have underlying issues, so I am aware of how to report that. By any chance, do you know anything about registration? And what I'm asking in particular is, I went to register today. They only have in-class options available. And so the online class options are not available. So if they agree to allow me to learn online, would I be kicked out of the regular classes or have to attend because I registered for those?
So you will not be kicked out of the regular classes, Cassia. We will make sure that if you've registered for whatever, let's just pick, you have a class that's on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and it meets from 10 to 10:50. We'll just move you from a gold or blue cohort into the white cohort, and you will just meet online for that particular class on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 10:50.
Okay.
So your schedule will remain, whatever classes you've registered for at this point. If you're eligible to be in the white cohort, your schedule will remain as is. You'll just meet during those times online.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, I'm Jasmine Ferris. I have a question. So I seen the slide where you was talking about the people that meet the white cohort, but I'm unsure if I do or not. So I am a caregiver, and I don't know which one that would fall underneath. Like, I'm not high risk, but the person that I care for is. So if I was to contract anything, I could give it to them. So which resource would I contact?
So I recommend that you send yours, Jasmine, and thank you for being with us tonight. I recommend you send it to the University Health Center to see the first option there. And let's say that even if you send it to a particular one of the three and it's not the one that you need to send it to, we will make sure internally that we forward it to the right place for you.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, I always have questions.
Keep asking, Cassia.
On the telehealth, that is not the timely MD that you originally gave us, like back in the beginning of the semester.
Dr. Haywood, would you mind?
It is. Smithite Care is the same thing as Timely MD, and we're strongly encouraging everyone to take advantage of these free resources. All you need to do is go to the link and register for an account. That's all you have to do. It's free of charge.
Okay, so have they update their policy? I was one that I do suffer from major depression, so I frequent that line a lot. I've not had great experience with them. I remember one time being on hold for about 2 hours, you know, while in a crisis. I remember another time of being on hold for 1 hour and 45 minutes while in crisis. You know, jumped from no one even notifies you and say, hey, we're going to send you to someone else that's available. They just drop you off out of one waiting room and into another one. So as a result, I've come on campus and utilized their counseling services. But if that's the only one, I just wanted to know what updates has been made to their procedure, because a person like me in crisis, that was not a great experience.
Well, first, let me say thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that out in the open with us. So I really appreciate that. I also appreciate the feedback that you have provided, because this does not sound like our partnership with Smithite Care. So I've made a note to touch in with our contact there. And then I'm going to place my email address in the chat box. Will you kindly take that down, and can you and I have an additional conversation on tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm putting it in the chat now. Thank you again for sharing that information. You didn't have to.
I know.
Cassia, thank
Yeah.
you. And to echo what Dr. Haywood said, thank you so much for sharing that information. You said you had several questions, so please feel free to ask all of your questions and we'll do our best to help you.
Okay. I have most of them answered during your presentation. So
Okay. Okay.
Are you all requiring a COVID test before coming back on campus?
Yes, ma'am. Was that Chastity?
Yes.
Are you a resident? Are you going to be living in the residence halls, Chastity?
No, I will be commuting, but my son, he has lung issues. He sees a lung specialist, so I'll probably end up doing the cohort.
You'd want to be in the white cohort?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There will be mandatory testing for those who will be living in our residence halls. And for those of you who are commuting, we will have surveillance testing throughout the semester. But once you come on campus, you will need to fill out the survey, the COVID-19 survey, and then go to one of our screening stations to have your temperature taken. And if you pass with flying colors, you'll be given a wristband for the day.
Okay.
Any other questions? So I know that Dr. Mitchell, thank you for answering the questions that are in the chat. If we are paying, let's see, this is Exodus. Do we have to pay the online course fee this semester? Exodus, if your class was originally scheduled as an online class, then yes, you will pay the online fee. If a class was originally scheduled to be on ground, and let's say for whatever reason you're in the white cohort, it could be because you have accommodations that need to be met, or the faculty member who's teaching the course has accommodations that need to be met, so the class will meet virtually. You will not have to pay the online course fee for spring semester. I'm sorry, I hope you meant spring semester and not fall semester.
So I'm just gonna take myself off of mute. I was talking about the upcoming semester. Okay. And basically, so my question is so I've already registered for classes, but how do you distinguish between whether the class was originally online or if the professor just chose to be online for this upcoming semester?
Yeah, we will make that distinction internally, and you will not be charged the $125 online course fee as a result. You should see if it were an originally online course, you will see $125 show up on your student account. Otherwise, you will not see that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Can you speak more about the other cohorts? So Joshua, the other cohorts, which are the blue and gold cohorts, let me just go back to the gold and blue cohorts are the cohorts that will meet with their professors in the classroom space, but will alternate. So let's take week beginning January 25th. So that's the first day for on the ground, in class meetings with your professor. We will start where the gold cohort will meet in the classroom, while the blue and white cohorts are online. And we can't have all the students in one classroom space at the same time, because we want to make sure that we have social distancing there with the assigned seats and so forth. And so the gold cohort will be in the classroom, while the blue and white cohorts are experiencing at the same time the teaching and learning environment. And then the next week, the blue cohort will be in the classroom space, while the gold and white cohorts are experiencing the teaching and learning online. And the way you will know which cohort you are in, well, the white cohort, we've already talked a lot about how you will know, you will be notified. But for the gold and blue cohorts, when you're registering for your classes in the spring semester, the classes are actually segmented by the color. You'll see a section A, G for gold, or a section A, B for blue. And we are encouraging all of you, if you can, if you're going to be in the gold cohort, try to get all of your classes in the gold cohort or all of your classes in the blue cohort. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. The people who are staying on campus, are they getting tested on campus once they reach? Is it Breja? Breja?
Briaja, yeah.
Briaja. Yes, there is mandatory testing before a student moves into the residence hall. We're using the rapid testing by Next Now, and it takes about 15 minutes to get results. So every student who lives in the residence halls must be tested and must have a test that is negative before they are allowed to move in the residence halls.
Dr. Morgan, can we ask Suzanne to clarify her question? I asked for clarification there because I wanted to make sure we were answering what she was asking.
Suzanne,
yes.
are you
able to hear me?
Yes.
I have an out-of-state student in California. So my concern is in the event that he contracts COVID, how will we accommodate his living space?
So we have rooms set up for those students who test positive for COVID. They will be put in isolation, and we have units set up on campus so that your son or your daughter or your loved ones will be in isolation until they test negative for the coronavirus. So we do have designated spaces.
I see. So would that mean that during the isolation period, they need to move from their residence hall to the isolation center and then back to the resident hall?
Yes, that is correct. If they test positive, they'll be placed in isolation until they test negative, and then they'll be able to move back into the residence halls.
And then who is responsible for making sure that the residence hall that they left is then decontaminated?
Right, so we have our facility staff and we have health professionals on campus who will make sure that everything has been disinfected and cleaned thoroughly for COVID-19 within a 24 to 48 hour period.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there questions in the chat, Dr. Mitchell, that we may have missed?
Yes, there's one I missed from Patrick Coleman. Do we bring the results with us to campus?
The results of your COVID test, is that what you're asking about?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Yeah, you don't have to get tested prior to coming to campus. Are you going to be living in the residence halls, Patrick, or a loved one will be living in the residence halls?
I'll be living in the residence hall. I'll be living in Duke this year.
Okay, for us, it won't matter if you get tested prior to coming to campus during the move-in. You will be tested when you come to campus, and you have to have a negative test before you will be allowed to move into the residence hall.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
And probably it was already answered earlier, but I was just wondering if we can bring like our cleaning products to campus in regards to like the dormitories that we're staying in. I know it's going to be like cleaned and all that by the facility people, but like just in case, like, so we'll feel comfortable, can we bring our own cleaning products?
Yes, we highly encourage you to do so.
Okay, thank you.
If you have just a whole suitcase or trunk full of your own cleaning supplies, bring them on. Is your name? I think I'm talking to. Is it Special?
Yes, you're talking to me. Hi.
Okay. Yes, bring them on. Feel free.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I think it was Dr. Melita Mitchell. She answered the question in regards to like the staff and everything that was gonna bring that was gonna like clean like the rooms and the classrooms as well. But I'm just like kind of like an iffy person. Like I like my cleaning to be done right, so that's why I asked.
We understand.
Thank you.
We will not be offended if you bring your own cleaning supplies.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Morgan, we missed a question from Farah Johnson. She says, good evening and thank you for this meeting. In reference to common areas, for example, shower areas, are students required to wear masks while showering?
They're not required to wear masks while showering, but we are requiring them to wear masks once they are done with their shower, because those are communal areas. But no, you do not need to wear a mask in the shower.
I have a question. My son will be in the white cohort, and I believe he has an appointment on Wednesday or Thursday to do his schedule. So with the advisor. So how would you know if the class is designated a gold or blue? Will it have a B? Will it have a G?
Yes, the class section will actually have a B or a G for blue or gold. They will also be some sections that will have W's for white. It's just that your son won't be able to see those. But once he is deemed eligible to be in the white cohort, we will work with the academic advisors to make sure that he's moved over into the white cohort. But there will be
all classes that's offered as a B and G or blue or gold will also be offered as a white?
That is correct.
All of the courses, it wouldn't
all of
be
them.
so
Yes.
Okay.
And that's, I think it was when is it Kesia?
Yes, Kasia.
She was Kasia was asking earlier, if your son happens to register for all of gold at this point, because he may want to lock down the times, when he is deemed eligible for the white cohorts, we will just move him over into the white cohort, but he can keep the same times for the classes. Because the expectation is that, as I was stating earlier, if a class meets on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 o'clock, that the students will show up at 10 o'clock on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for that particular class.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I understand that we are doing our registration for spring semester classes on Wednesday, but could we do it a little bit earlier than that?
When
like
you say
tomorrow or maybe or something?
Well, seniors, if you're a senior, your registration is today and starts today, and you can register tomorrow and anytime throughout the registration period. However, for anyone other than seniors, you will need to wait until Wednesday to register.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Ms. Perkins. I'm in the master program and I have class in that nighttime. Can you explain how that is going to flow? Is it going to be just like the cohort?
For the night classes?
Yes.
Yeah, the night classes will have the cohorts gold and blue and white as well. If those courses are already scheduled to be online, then everyone will just be in those classes and from a virtual environment. But they will still, every section, unless it is already an online section, every section will have gold, blue, and white cohorts. Or every class will have gold, blue, and white sections to them or for them.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, because when we try to register, I know I've been having technology issues, and I registered for one class. It told me I had the class.
I think it was answered, but we will have open order activities that will allow the business to do some cleanup prior so that we can minimize the amount of transactions that are coming over that are not necessary. And we will be able to provide a cross-reference document so they will understand what their old number was and their new number and the new business entity name that they will be transacting in as well.
Suzanne, I think your microphone just went live.
In the communication.
Suzanne.
Can we mute her, Dr. Morgan?
I thought she was actually speaking too.
I don't think we're ordering any.
I thought she was actually speaking to the question at one point, but I hope I answered the question relative to evening. There is another question about if there is another lockdown, and I'm sure all of you are aware that there are conversations around how the cases are increasing. So a question was about if there is another lockdown and you have loved ones who are commuting in or living like the one who's out in California, will you be allowed to do courses online? And the answer is yes, for the semester. If that is an option for you and that is what you wish, we'll just ask you to send the request. If it's not something that the entire university shifts toward, you can just send the request. And yes, your loved one will be able to be in the white cohort, since that's what we're calling them at this point.
Dr. Morgan, we have another question.
Yes.
I have one question.
Okay, so Dr. Mitchell, is your question relative to?
It is relative to students who are living on campus. It's not the person who it's not Kennedy. So if Kennedy wants to ask her question, I'll hold this one.
Kennedy, go ahead.
Oh, my question is, if we don't want to come back in the spring semester for whatever reason, or we feel unsafe or anything like that, would we still qualify for the white cohort or no?
Yes, ma'am. We would just ask you to send, so you would be in that third, do you remember the third category that we mentioned? This one, the Office of the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. Just send your request to svpaa@jcsu.edu.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you put that in the chat, please?
Sure.
Oh, there it is. It's VPAA. Got it.
I can put it in the chat if you want it in the chat as well.
No, I see it on the screen now.
Okay. So go ahead, Dr. Mitchell.
Well, Dr. Haywood has addressed the question, but I'll read it for the YouTube viewers. They wanted Exodus wanted clarification. The students who are living on campus, are they the only ones who will be tested for COVID? And Dr. Haywood has addressed that. I don't know if you want me to read your response, Dr. Haywood, or if you just want to. Okay, so Dr. Haywood has responded, everyone moving onto campus will be tested. Then we will start surveillance testing, and every student, faculty, and staff member who is present on campus will be assigned a day and a time to come in and be tested. This is important in order for us to minimize any spread of the virus and identify any active clusters. This will be done by our health center and partners at Atrium Health. And at this time, there are no other questions in the chat.
Okay. Any additional questions we might be able to address for any of you?
I will mention this one out loud, Dr. Morgan, which we did address in the chat, but Markeisha had a question. If there's a gap in the schedule and you don't stay on campus, will you have to leave campus in between your class times? I did speak to some of the common spaces that we have that will be sectioned off with proper social distancing, but I don't know if you want to address that as well.
Sure, thank you. So Markeisha, we will have space available on campus where you'll be able to go in between your class times if you need to study, if you need to rest. And this is for students, whether you're living in the residence halls or not. The only thing we will make sure that we ask of you is that you observe social distancing, your 3 W's, wear your masks, wash your hands, and observe social distancing, or wait 6 feet. That's what the W is for. Make sure that you wait so that you're 6 feet apart.
There are no questions in the chat, and Mr. Dorsey has indicated there are no additional questions from our YouTube viewers.
All right.
I do have a question.
Go ahead, Cassia.
Okay, so while we were doing internship daily, we had to go and get our temp take and take a wear a badge. Would that be the same procedure if you were on campus, that before class you would do the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
There will be temperature or screening stations set up throughout campus, and you would go to the Sensory RX app, fill out the COVID-19 questionnaire, and then go to one of those screening stations to have your temperature taken.
Okay.
If it is deemed that your temperature is normal and that you have green, there's a green level on that Sensor RX COVID-19 survey, you will have a wristband to wear for the entire day. And those of us, as we will all sign a social compact saying that we're holding each other accountable to make sure that we are observing all of the protocol that has been set in place. And that includes, we will look to see if you're wearing a wristband. And if you're not wearing a wristband, we will ask you to go to one of the screening stations to get a wristband. Otherwise, you will be asked to leave the campus. So we're all going to hold each other accountable in that regard. Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. This is Kenneth Hagler. Thank you guys for holding this for us to get the clarity on this entire mitigation. My question is, some of the questions that I personally have been answered already, but should we have additional questions, who should be the direct point of contact for those questions and concerns?
If there are questions relative to tonight's town hall, please feel free to send them to svpaa@jcsu.edu.
Thank you.
And I still have, it's on the screen here. Dr. Jones? You're on mute, Dr. Jones.
Okay, sorry. Just want to clarify, if you are a student in the white group, you can still receive accommodations. So if you're needing extra time on test, or if you need other equipment, in case you cannot access some information from your professors, please contact us. I did put in the chat to contact Mr. James Saunders or Equity and Access. You can still receive services if you're in the white group.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
Sure.
Anything else? Dr. Dean, are you still present? Okay, please go ahead.
So just wanted to mention, because this will affect all students or impact all students, both commuters and residential students. We are reminding everyone that you must take our student COVID-19 course and sign the campus pledge that Dr. Morgan mentioned. This will be uploaded before the first check-in day. The course is not a course where you're going to fail a test. You have to take 2 quizzes, but you can take the quizzes as much as you would like until you get 100% on them. And in that same course will be the campus pledge that every student, faculty, and staff, every member of the campus community has to sign, adhering to our policies and procedures, especially as they're related to COVID-19 to help mitigate the spread of the virus. So just want to remind all students that you have to take that, and you will be registered for the course on Canvas, again, either late December or the 1st of January. Thank you, Dr. Morgan.
Thank you. And I think it's important to reiterate that for all of these classes, the first expectation is that you will be present for those classes during the time in which those classes will meet. But as we mentioned earlier, there will be an asynchronous opportunity for every single class. And so when you think about what it means to be present or to be attending those classes, We know that things will arise from time to time. Just make sure that you continue to be present. And by that, we mean check with your academic advisors, check with someone if you need, make sure to take advantage of Smith Eye Care. Let us know how we can assist you in that, how we can help you, because it is important for us that you remain successful. And we want to do what we can to keep you successful. We do care. We're so happy that you're choosing to come back in the spring, because I know, and we know that this is hard. It's hard to navigate. But if you will, just take advantage of the fact that we are here and we recognize that it's hard to navigate from time to time. Let us be the persons whom you lean on when you don't know exactly where to turn to receive academic support. Okay.
And I do want to thank each and every one of you. This has been a very stressful semester for me. I thank you for the instructors that you chose to lead us. They have been very instrumental, including my personal life. And so I do not want to cry. And so I just want to take that time out to thank you all for giving us the best of instructors that we can have. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassia. That's going to make all of us have just these weak moments in our hearts. We really appreciate it. It's a family, a Golden Bull family, and we emphasize family. And so it takes a village. And so all of us have been really working hard to make sure that we know that we can't eliminate or mitigate 100% of the risks, but we're doing what we can to make sure that we can mitigate some of those risks. And you're putting your trust in all of us, and that's important to us.
Yes.
Anything else?
Hi, I would like to say something. I'm a parent of one of the students that's a senior there. And I really appreciate these town hall meetings that you all are giving the students as well as us parents to know more about what's going on campus, how campus has changed, all of that. I am an alumni of the school, of the university, and I see a lot, so many different changes that have taken place. And you all are beautifying the campus and making sure us as parents is aware of how our students will be taken care of, and that you are really, really concerned about their well-being as well as your own, you know. So me as a parent, I'm comfortable. At first I wasn't, but I am comfortable that my senior will experience her last semester there, because I really wanted her to experience that. But I really appreciate it and thank you. I just wanted to say thank you. That's all.
Thank you. You're welcome. We just want to do what we can, and we appreciate your kind words. That really means a lot to us. Thank you very much. Well, it looks like we may have reached the point where there are no additional questions or concerns. But once again, if you do have any questions or concerns, additional ones, you can send them relative to academics. You can send them to svpaa@jcsu.edu. Oh, I see one, Alexandria. If I'm in the evening program and my classes will be meeting in person, will I still be able to fall under the white cohort? Alexandria, every class in the spring semester will have a gold, blue, or white cohort. Or I should say gold, blue, and white cohorts to them. So if you would like to be in the white cohort, you can send an email request. If it's one of the first, it could be one of the three. If it's a medical reason, you can send it to the Student Health Center. If you need accommodations through ADA, you can send it to Equity and Access. Or if it's some other reason than those two, you can send it to svpaa@jcsu.edu. And it does not matter if you're in the evening program. Please feel free to send it on. Excellent.
Dr. Morgan, if I may, I just wanted to remind everyone that this meeting will be on YouTube, so it's for playback. So if you go to JCSU Student Affairs on YouTube, you can also share it with your family if they could not make it, or even your peers. So it will be on YouTube for playback.
Thank you, Dr. Dean. Nadia, you say you have a question?
Yes, I wasn't typing it fast enough, but I was just wondering if a student feels like, if they're in the white cohort and say that they thought that they could do the class through the white cohort, maybe it might be a video class or something like that, and they change their mind, would they be able to, or is like it a one and done once you choose, a cohort?
No, we can be flexible. If you're in the white cohort and you have a desire to begin meeting with your professor and your peers in either the gold or blue white cohort, in either the gold or blue cohort, we can think about that. The only thing I would say to you is we have to make sure that there is space in the classroom where the classes are actually meeting. So if you're in the white cohort and you say, I would really like to be moved into the gold or blue cohort, we would certainly consider that. We just want to make sure that there would be space available. Are there any seats for that particular class? And so if you are interested in doing so, you can still, once again, send an email to svpaa@jcsu.edu. And we will move you if there are seats available.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. Dorsey, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
One more question, Dr.
Oh,
Dorsey.
I'm sorry.
Jasmine Ferris has asked, will you be charged the $125 per online course fee?
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell, for catching that. Jasmine, you'll be charged the $125 online course fee if the course was originally scheduled as an online course. If the course was scheduled as an on-ground course and it has for some reason been moved online because, for example, the professor who's teaching the course also has accommodations or is eligible for accommodations, then you will not be charged the online course fee. If the course is meeting on ground and online, which we call hybrid here, you will not be charged an online course fee, the $125 online course fee. That only applies to the courses that were originally scheduled as online courses. You're welcome. Okay. Mr. Dorsey, are you still there?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for attending this town hall. We really appreciate you taking the time. We appreciate all of your questions and your concerns. And thank you for trusting us to keep your safety at the top of our priority list.
And we invite you to hold your calendars for December 3rd at 6:00 p.m. We will have our final town hall meeting with parents and caretakers. We also welcome students, but we really want to hear from the parents and caretakers on December 3rd, Thursday, December 3rd at 6:00 p.m. If there are no more questions for this evening's town hall, we want to thank all of the administrators who joined us this evening, and a special thanks to the Division of Academic Affairs for providing this